everybody. It's Erin-Cofiell-Barker with my lovely co-host, Joe Sinagra, on another edition of the Trash Talking and Giving Back podcast. Joe, I don't know how many of these we've done now, more than 25 of them. I just noticed that your wife is in the open.
Yes, she is. I pointed that out often when I show her the intro. But yes, she is in the open.
Oh, I love it. What was that, like a derby party or something? I feel like they
That
all have
was.
fun.
Yes, the pre-COVID, the Boys and Girls Club of Burlington used to do a big fundraiser around the Kentucky Derby out at, actually, I think it's where you got married out there in Essex. What's that, the Lang Barn?
Nope, I got married at the Mansfield Barn. So many barn options.
So the Lang Barn out there in Essex, they would do it every year, and it was just such a fun event. And you had to wear the hats and everything. So yes, that was 2017, 2018 timeframe, maybe.
Okay, love it, love it. So today we do not have a special guest, right? So we talk trash, we talk about giving back. This week will be heavier on the trash talking side of things, and it won't just be Joe and I poking fun at people. We are gonna get a little meat in there for you and talk about recycling or not. But before we get there, I do just want to ask Jack. It's been a long week with my 3.5-year-old named Jack. I do want to ask Joe how his week has been, because hopefully it has not been as long as mine has been with Jack, who wanted to pick out his own outfit today. And I've always been so proud of myself for him not being that kid, but we're in it.
Well, my sophomore in college is going through midterm, so it's been a challenge as well with that. But week's been good. I was a product of an older parent, and I always got frustrated by my parents because they didn't know current events or current music or stuff like that, and I always vowed that I wouldn't be that person. And Saturday Night Live is always a great place to learn about, current, keep up with everything. And I enjoy Saturday Night Live. So they're previewing next week's episode, and the musical guest is Role Model, which I might not know every act or every person, but I was floored by this. So my question, Erin, you're a little younger than I. Do you know who Role Model is?
No, I also didn't know who Bad Bunny is.
Oh my God! Well, Aaron, come on, Bad Bunny. He caught a foul ball at the Yankee game the other day. Yeah, Bad Bunny's great. Love Bad Bunny.
I don't know who Role Model is, and I don't know who Bad Bunny is. I do though know who Blippi is and Miss Rachel is, and Cookie Monster and Gonger. So I'm gonna just blame my lack of pop culture knowledge these days on that the kids have just taken over the TVs in our home. And I am always so behind on things. It's wild.
Well, when I said, who is this person? And the two other people in my household began to laugh at me saying, what am I, living under a rock? I guess Role Model's big thing is at the end of the show, they bring out a Sally to perform with them. And each show, it's, a different performer that performs with them. So so coming up on Saturday Night Live is Role Model is one of the musical guests. I felt quite old.
No, that makes, if you feel old, I'm just not hip. What's worse, to feel old or just be in the age but not with the times?
Well, listen, I haven't been hip since the 80s, which is okay, at least, but I always felt like I knew, at least have heard of the people. I'm not a huge, be it music or pop culture, but at least I have heard of the person usually. So that was a little frustrating.
Well, that's okay, because you might not be an expert on music, but you know what you are an expert on? Trash.
Well, trash and recycling, which is it's like you almost did this for a living, Erin. Yeah, good segue.
Thank you. And so we're about to find out just how smart Joe is and how not smart I maybe am, but we're gonna see, right? I guess you represent the expert and I represent the average 41, right, low 40s year old mom who works. And let's see what kind of knowledge is the common sense knowledge out there, as we talk about. So how are we going to do it? You're going to mention some different items, and then I'm going to share how I think I'm supposed to handle it when I'm done with it.
So we went through and have 7 items that I believe you have in your home, or you had in your home, and that you have by all likelihood have disposed of.
Okay.
And I want to know if you have correctly disposed of them in the proper manner. So our wonderful producer behind the screen has some photos, so maybe Ben can put up the first of our items that are probably in your house. So as you can see, this is a tissue box that we all have in our house. So my question, Erin, not the box, the tissue itself, recyclable or not?
Not, because it's got stuff on it, and right.
Well,
this is like, that's harder than I thought it was going to be, because as you put it up there, I was like, I mean, they definitely go in the trash at my house, but I'm like second guessing it now.
Well, so I didn't fully tell Ben the way to do this. This is our trick one, our trick question. It is recyclable if it's not been used or only used to pick up dust or other dry items from your household. So if you take the tissue out and you wipe down the counter because there was a piece of hair or dirt or something, then it's recyclable. If you put anything on there, bodily fluids, something like that, then it is not recyclable.
But like, so what happens when someone does that and puts it in the recyclable?
Right. So that has to, of course, at the landfill or at the transfer station, all recyclable is sorted. So if one tissue is not going to be pulled out, but if it's a bag of, a lot of people have, bathroom garbage. So if that whole bag goes into the recyclable and they see it, they'll pull it out and put it into the trash.
Okay, so err on the side of caution, probably with Kleenex and maybe trash. But if you think about it, because you're doing dust or something, that's basically not wet, I guess.
Correct. Like since I do live with 2 women in my house, we often have jewelry in Kleenex. So the women I live with will take rings or earrings off, and they don't want to leave it on a counter because it's easy to get pushed into the trash or on the ground. So they will often put it in a tissue to leave that on the counter or the end stand.
Oh my God, don't do that at my house. They will end up in the garbage if it's in a tissue. Someone will just think it's trash that you didn't throw out.
Well, yes, that's fair enough. Ben, what do we have next for us on our list? So this is another item I think might be at your house. So one of these plastic kiddie pools that you have in the summertime, made of hard plastic. Recycle or trash?
I'm gonna go with trash. And this is a really good time of year to be showing people what to do with these pools, because I feel like everyone's starting to get rid of summer stuff, and this is a great example of something. I don't know if you're going to keep it until next year. It might have like a little bit of like griminess in there. So I feel like trash, but I don't even know logistically how to do that because it doesn't fit in my trash can.
Well, this is one of the ones we get a lot of questions here at the office. We get this call often because people think, oh, the hard plastic, that should be recyclable, right? It is trash. And what we tell people to do is you cut that down. So, it's hard plastic, so it's not that hard to break down. You cut it up and put it right in your trash tote. So good job, Erin. We're going to go one right and a half wrong.
Okay. Fair. I'll take it. I need to get like a Sawzall though, because I think that would make my brain think, oh, I can make this fit in my trash can by cutting it down.
Correct. And I'm sure your 3.5-year-old would love that. Next up, Ben. Well, so here's another one, a mattress. So on a sidebar, I was amazed recently by reading what's the average life expectancy on a mattress is, and what the average time the American keeps their mattress for, which are 2 very different numbers.
I'm going to guess we keep it for a lot longer than the life of it says.
That's by 10 years.
Well, the problem is though, like the guest room bed versus your bed probably, right, get used at a much different clip.
Yes. They say you're supposed to change your mattress every 15 years if you're using it on a daily basis. But they said the average American is keeping them for over 20 years.
Jeez. How do mattress stores stay in business?
Well,
So,
the over the internet they talk about these mattress stores that are a front for something else. That's one of the
oh,
great conspiracies out there. So, but you
wow.
want to get rid of your mattress. What do you do with it?
I think this one you recycle. And I'm only saying that because I feel like I know you would need to bring this one to the dump yourself and then they'll tell you what to do. But I'm pretty sure the answer is recycle.
Well, you're partially right. This is not your regular recycling where you put it in your blue bin or place like that. It should
Okay.
be recycled. There's a great company in Vermont that actually will break down all of your mattresses. So they will, if it's one of the older fashion that has the springs in them, they'll pull the metal springs out and recycle those. They'll pull the wood out, recycle the wood, chip the wood down, and then the foam inside will go. A lot of the new mattresses are the memory foam, so they're straight foam. They'll pull out that foam to break that down to use it in other manners. So we're going to give you half a credit for that. So half
Okay,
recycle.
well, I have a question about this company. Do they come pick it up? Because you know why I think a lot of people probably keep their mattresses for way too long? Feels like a real pain in the butt to figure out how to get rid of it.
They do
Like,
come and pick it up. So they have a
oh,
tiered system where they'll come and pick it up. They won't come in your house. You got to bring it, have it out on your curb, but they will pick it up for you, or you can bring it to their space in Burlington down by the McNeil plant, which is downtown Burlington.
interesting. Okay, because yeah, we don't have a truck. So sometimes when it's like, oh, I have this big thing to get rid of it, it feels a lot more difficult because how do you do that when you don't have a truck?
Exactly. All right, Ben, what's
All
the
right, so I'm
next
at
one up?
two. Two out of three because I got two out of four.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
No,
I don't know
trash.
if you are in this, but I think I'm helping to pay for Jeff Bezos' honeymoon with the recent Amazon Prime Day. So the large volume of product showing up at my house, and it often will come with this styrofoam in it.
And I feel like I know this one from the podcast, and styrofoam goes in the trash.
Trash.
But
But we
but this is when people always think you are supposed to recycle, but you are not. You're supposed to throw it in the trash.
And the styrofoam is one of the biggest, the number one product that we see in the recycle containers that should not be in the recycle container. So this is an important one to go in there. And it's sad that we haven't found a market yet for it, and maybe we will at one point going forward.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they can't melt it down. Not melt. I don't know what you do with it or how it's made, but basically melt it down and remake it into what it already is. Or
Well,
just take
you
it.
would think similar to wood that you could chip it down or press it down or whatever, shred it down. But
Or bring
maybe
it
someday.
to UPS and then they mail them all back to Amazon to reuse.
Exactly. All right, Ben, keep it going. All right, so
Ooh.
oily pizza box.
Think I know this one because I think I learned it on the podcast, but I will admit would not have known this. If it is greasy like that, it goes in the trash. But if it was not greasy, it would be okay to recycle the pizza box.
Well, close. Greasy and no food left behind is recyclable. Greasy and any food left behind would be in the trash.
Greasy and no food. So
So no
greasy doesn't matter. It's the food that
greasy doesn't
matters.
matter. Right, because the
Okay.
grease obviously will eventually just fully dissipate. You won't have that any place
Yeah.
where cheese or crust or whatever will be left behind. Who's leaving behind crust and cheese? That's a whole nother story because that's just a sin too.
I got a little cocky on that one, Joe. I
Well,
thought
that's
I had
fine.
it. I thought I
My
had it. So
it might be a controversial take, but the people who leave behind cheese and crust on a pizza are probably the same people who are Samsung users. Ben, what's our next item up? So yard waste. So that's this time of the year, October. We're all outside raking our leaves and cleaning up. And you drive through any place in Vermont, you'll see these bags on the side of the road filled with leaves and sticks and yard waste. So where should you put that bag of leaves?
I don't know. I feel like it's not a landfill item because I feel like it's like one of those like items of the earth, but the garbage bag kind of throws me off, right? The garbage bag
Yes.
holding all of the leaves. I know when I was younger, we'd recycle it by having an orange garbage bag that looked like a pumpkin and it became like a yard decoration for a little bit. I'm gonna go with there's a way to recycle this.
Well, you're partially correct. So in Vermont, yard waste is banned from the landfill, so you cannot throw that into the landfill, nor can you recycle it. So it can't go in your blue bin recycling. So yard waste has to be brought to a solid waste depot, and every county has one, where they will mulch down your yard waste. So we're going to give you half a credit on this. So it's neither.
But you are supposed to put it in like a garbage bag to get it there, and then they will just dump it,
Right.
and then they'll do whatever you're
Correct.
supposed to do. I don't know what you're supposed to do with garbage bags, just trash.
The garbage bag is trash. So
Wouldn't
you
that
can
be
bring it in.
interesting
You can bring it in
if garbage
bags,
bags
or
were recyclable?
yeah, non-black bags are recyclable.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, yes. Ben, what's our next one we have here? So this is an important one. So we often have takeout, or takeaway leftovers from restaurants, or you can buy these at Costco and everything. So these are your reusable lunch containers. But they're not built the best, so you got to throw them away eventually. So trash or recyclable, they're
Well,
plastic.
so I think that initially recycling within the home is the way to go with these. My husband would disagree, but if we got a food tray thing like this from like a Chinese restaurant, I 100% am like, no, that's a good one. We need to keep it because
Yeah,
it's nice then if you go to someone's house and you're bringing food and then you can like leave it behind. But
exactly.
once it's seen its life, I'm going to go with trash.
You're absolutely right. So black recyclable plastic, this heavy black plastic, they call it number 10 plastic, is not recyclable. So it would go into the trash. So once again, Alex is correct.
Woof. Once again, no, but they are so convenient to reuse. So you can recycle on your own sometimes before it needs to go into the trash by putting, snacks and treats and leftovers in them.
Well, and listen, as I mentioned in the opening, as a child of older parents who were very Depression era parents, my parents were very frugal. So I would bring my lunch to school in the reused, you know, butter container or Cool Whip containers or cottage cheese containers. So you're sitting at the lunch table and they're, why do you have a tub of butter for lunch? So. uh, I'm very privy on the recycled material, even back in the 80s and 90s.
I mean, this literally just happened in my house because a lot of times now what I do is I put it in the sink instead of the trash to be like, I wonder if he'll agree that this is a good one. And I did it with like a container that had like little like mozzarella balls. It's like a pretty good plastic container.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing it out, I put it in the sink, but then later that night I saw it in the trash.
And with my move recently, a year ago, I did the same thing. And when we moved, not exaggerating, I had a 30-gallon bag, trash bag full of reusable, oh, this is a good container. We'll use this from takeout and such. So I think, Ben, we might have one more on our list. Yes.
Ooh.
So Ben and Jerry's container. You finish the ice cream. What do you do with the container?
So I'm going to glean from things I've learned earlier in this episode of Recycle or Not. And I'm going to say that you are supposed to have no food left in the container and then it's recyclable.
You're at 100%. Look, Erin, you're becoming an expert on this. At this
I
rate, you
love it.
can come
Also,
up.
since it's Ben and Jerry, like, does that go for all pints or are Ben and
Yeah.
Jerry's one special?
No, all pints.
Okay.
So to your point, you're long as there's no food residue in it, and you're supposed to wash it out like your pickle jar.
Cool.
Wash it out, make sure, clean it out, and then yes, it can be recycled.
So the big takeaways, right, are the food thing, right? Food is never recyclable. If it's an item that has food in it that is recyclable, there needs to be no food left or food residue. Like if you have a jar of pickles, the jar is recyclable, but you need to wash it out. Definitely
Ex-
guilty of not doing
Exactly. Or keep that pickle jar for all the leftover nuts and screws and bolts and stuff.
that. But
Because
but to be fair, in theory, I would wash it before putting
yeah,
other things in it. So
yeah,
the
because on a whole
process should
different
be
we've talked previously on this that I do some things well and some things not. Handyman isn't one of the top things I do, and we recently last weekend got a new headboard, which I
oh.
proceeded to put together, and I got done. I was very proud of myself for putting it together without swearing and attaching it to my bed. But then I realized I had this large volume of screws and other things that I didn't use, which proceeded to have a conversation in my house about why didn't I use all the parts. And my explanation was they sent us extra just in case I needed it, which I'm sure is exactly what the reason
Like a
was.
lot of extra, not just like one or two. Like I appreciate when the company sends one or two extra because sometimes someone might have counted and been off, and there's nothing worse than not having enough.
Yeah, no, there was definitely 5 or 6, maybe 8 screws and bolts and nuts that I did not use.
But you followed the directions.
Why would I do that? I'm a hard-headed Italian man. Why would I do that? That's just like, it's
And
not
it
good.
hasn't fallen apart yet.
Not yet, but it's only been a few days. So, we'll
Okay.
see. So far, so good.
Fair. I like this
There,
recycle or not. I think we should line it up, or if people have questions and wonder about other things and what they're supposed to do with them, maybe, in a few more weeks here down the road, we'll keep doing recycle or not to share with people what you're supposed to do with some of those common household goods that you're not sure what to do with.
Well, and it is important because we do receive a lot of calls here at the office about what is recyclable and what's not, and there's so many items that you just don't know about. Chittenden Solid Waste, which is going to be a guest here coming up in a few weeks, they have a wonderful list on their website where you can just type in pickle jar or whatever you want to call it, and they'll tell you very clearly where you should put that item. So it's nice. So we encourage people to visit their website, cswd.net, to see exactly what you can and can't recycle.
But for the record, all of this today came out of your brain, not the website, because you are Mr. Trash Know-It-All.
Correct. I did verify the items, make sure that, I'm not, as I'm often criticized for, full of, what, for just making stuff up. So I did verify that my information was accurate.
Perfect. I love it. Okay, drop ideas below of other things. And it is now time for Trashy or Not.
Okay. Oh,
I love it.
so I take it you haven't seen that intro either. Neither have I.
I had not seen it. And for the people that are listening, you need to go try to find the video version so you can see the Myers trash can and the Trashy or Not logo. That was amazing.
Now I got to take back all of my joking around about our producer and using a Samsung and living in Texas and everything else because Ben just knocked it out of the park there.
You did. But to be fair, that was not created on a Samsung. Maybe. I guess I'm not sure.
So trashy or not, and this has happened to a lot of us, me included. So nowadays there are so many text chains and group messages and everything that goes on. So trashy or not, texting somebody in a group chat before 6 a.m. Trashy or not?
It's trashy. And I don't even know if 6 a.m. is the right time because maybe people will think 7 a.m. But I just feel like there's like standard times that the world is, more likely than not awake, and you can't do that. You're going to wake people up.
I look at it as making a phone call. So I always, when I sit down to text somebody, I said, can I call them on the phone right now or not? And if the answer is I can't call them on the telephone, then I'm not going to text them either.
I mean, I'd agree with that. And actually, I can't remember what it was now. I think you'd posted something on the Myers Facebook, or I saw something recently, and I screenshotted it, and then I was going to send it to you. And I looked and I was like, ooh, it's like 10 o'clock. Like, that's too late to be sending something to somebody. Like, I just feel like there's an unspoken rule of like phone etiquette, and it goes for phone and text. I like your general rule of thumb. Like, if you wouldn't call them right now, probably don't text them right now.
I agree. And I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, the invention of texting is one of the greatest inventions mankind has ever created. I mean, as somebody who used to have anxiety in high school, making telephone calls, this is, texting is just great. My life would probably be completely different if I could text in the 90s.
Fair, but I will also say, like, I'm more likely to, let it slide if it's like, one of my friends and she's texting me something and like acknowledges, like, I know it's really early, but like, yeah. But for me, this happened recently. I'm in like this huge, like probably 12 or 13 moms for my kid's school. And one of the moms, not once, but twice now, has like responded to stuff at like 5:30 in the morning. And it's like, I know we all have kids. And so maybe she just has one of those really early rising kids, but it's like, I don't know. When it's a large group text of people, I'm far less understanding, because I feel like for that, you for sure should be aware it is not something to be responding in at 5:30. Because then what happens if half the moms are all up that early and now they're just blowing it up back and forth?
Now, what about texting etiquette? As far as what about these people who have the auto response to a text message? You okay with that?
Wait, that's a thing?
Oh, I get it often. Sorry, I can't respond. I'm driving right now.
Oh, yeah. That like, I didn't know people actually like use that auto function, right? I remember when Apple like rolled out, like you could set like to say you're driving and like that's what you would say. I don't know. I just think it's okay if people don't write back to you like in the moment. And so I don't know if that's really necessary. Like, unless it's a like wild emergency, in which case you'll probably call someone. Like, if I'm just texting you because like, hey, I was thinking about you, like, it's okay if you're driving and you don't write back right now. You don't need to like tell me that.
So what about this? My family and those who are close to me understand that I like to get the acknowledgement you received my text message. And I know I'm in the minority on that.
No, I agree. Well, and mostly if it's like, because if you're sending something that needs a response, like it's like, well, did you get it? Did you see it? Are you aware? Like, but you can't.
Right, but there are times that you don't necessarily need a response, but I like getting a response, even if it's just a thumbs up or like. I understand. So I've since had to train my family that they have to respond to me.
I like it. Well, and don't just say K, because that can be a whole nother conversation for me about when people just write K, like drives me nuts. Also, go ahead.
And how about the follow-up? Because you're a journalist by trade, and I'm married to a journalist. My wife despises incorrect grammar and spelling in text messages too, which I get beat up for often. Where are you on grammar and spelling?
Meh. That's how you know how close we are. If my text like doesn't make sense, but you can kind of figure out what I was trying to say, like we're tight. If my text is very like properly edited, I'm like not sure where we stand. Do you like me? Do you not? Are you still judging me?
Because Vicky hates the autocorrect on it, so it really, really makes her angry. Not because it's autocorrecting her language, but autocorrecting to the wrong word.
Right. Well, and I will say when it comes to the journalist part, like I can't stand typos on like menus and like in the world. That drives me bonkers. But I do want to say, because I'm sure some people are in their car right now being like, come on, Erin, that's what do not disturb is for, blah, blah, blah. I know that do not disturb is a thing and you can set certain people to come through, but I still have an insane fear that someone else can analyze for me if they want, that someone's going to need to get in touch with me and I'm not going to be aware. And I like to be known as a person that's dependable. And so that probably roots back to my childhood and being a middle child and just wanting someone to depend on me. But that's why I don't like the do not disturb thing, because I have this like weird fear of someone trying to get in touch with me and I'm just going to like snooze right through it.
And that's fair. And I can also admit that I have slept through text messages that, my phone's not on do not disturb and somebody texts me and I've, slept through it, and then you see it at, 6 a.m. and, oh, I'm sorry. And then I'm forced to respond at that point and wake that person up. So.
Fair. So long story short, it is trashy, but like a little bit more acceptable depending on your relationship with the people. But if you're in a group text of like 10 plus, can we just keep it to like at least 6 or 7?
I wish I had 10 friends that I could be in a group chat with. So
that'll be our goal. That'll be our goal. All right, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Send us things you wonder about how to recycle. You can also go to the cswd.net website if you need to know now. But it also could be fun for us to talk about and educate everybody else. So comment and let us know, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you.